Welcome to Dad Talk Today. The podcast for dads facing some of the toughest moments of their lives. We are here to walk with men through divorce, keep them connected to their kids, help them understand their rights, and work for change in family law courts. Moms, you are always welcome too. We are all about advocating for shared parenting and doing what is best for our kids. Here is your host, Eric Carroll.
Everybody, welcome back to Dad Talk Today. We're glad you're here. If you're watching the show on YouTube, please make sure to look down there at your bottom right and subscribe so that you get all these notifications. Also, if you'd like to help support this podcast, look at the link that's going down below, patreon.com/Dad Talk Today, where you can help us keep this programming going. We've got a lot of exciting things going. Right before I get into this, though, guys, tomorrow and Thursday, I'm going to have some classic episodes that I think that need to be replayed on the channel. We will be going before the legislature in Georgia talking about the importance of shared parenting and possibly getting a bill going. So that is the ultimate solution. Guys, send us some prayers, send us some thoughts. And if you're in the Georgia area or maybe you're in the surrounding area and you would like to come, it's at the Capitol at noon. We need you there. With that said, Darren Robinson, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, buddy? Glad to be back here.
Yeah, man. So I think today's episode is pretty much, it sums up Dad Talk Today. It sums up what you got going with the Texas Minority Coalition, turning your pain into purpose. What does that mean to you? He froze up on the screen a little bit, so I'm going to take it here. So, guys, you know, a couple of years ago when I was going through these issues, I felt like it was a hopeless situation. As a single father, there was no resources. It felt like nobody was listening to me. The lawyers wanted all this money, and it felt like everywhere I turned, there was a dead end. Then when I finally get a good job, I'm told that I'm going to get this job. I'm going to be promoted into management. I'm going to get all these different things. I find out that a month into it, the company's shutting down nationwide. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what to do. And that's where Dad Talk was started. I thought about how I felt and wanted to make a channel. I wanted to make this page for people that are going through these same issues where they can come together and talk about these things. And a year and a half in, I think we're doing really well, man. And this is a new start. We've only been doing this for 2 weeks over here on the YouTube. I'm liking what we're seeing so far, and it's been really well. Darren, are you connected back again, my man?
Yeah, it's a lot of fluttering still.
Your videos froze up on it. Can you go out and come back in?
It's going in and out. I can hear some of the words you're saying, but not all of them.
All right, yeah. See if you can go out and come back in for me, my man.
Okay. Say go out and come back in?
Yeah. So, guys, sorry about that. That's one of the things about live video. Sometimes those things happen. But, yeah, just getting back into that. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where to turn. I just started doing something. And I know there's many of you out there that might be facing these battles right now. And you want to get involved. You just don't know how to get involved. Everybody plays a part. There's got to be somewhere, some talent. Maybe you're good in graphics. Maybe you're good in promotion. Maybe you're good in speaking. That's a part that I'm not good at. I do okay behind the computer, but public speaking has never been my thing. There's always some way that you can contribute to the movement and get in here and get involved. And we need more people getting involved. You know, you can take that, which is the thumbnail on there. It's something I've said for a while. You can take that which was meant to break you and let it be that which makes you. You can turn that pain into purpose. And every single one of you have that purpose, and hopefully we'll get it going sometime soon. Darren, you back, my man?
I'm here.
All right. So tell everybody a little bit about what that means to you, man. Turning your pain into purpose.
Turning your pain into purpose, man, is using everything that you've been through, everything, every dark space, every every time that you went low. You know, I told a story about my mom passing away of cancer in 2015. And she had stage 4 cancer, and it went from her lungs to her heart and to her brain. And when I was talking to her, sometimes I could understand what she was saying, and sometimes I couldn't understand what she was saying because the cancer hit her brain. And so when she was on her deathbed, 2 days before she passed away, she was talking about, she got to get out of the hospital so she can learn how to pay her. I mean, so she can pay her rent, so she can pay her car note, and so she could, see after her grandchildren and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, Mom, just chill out. Don't worry about that. Just get better. And 2 days after that, she passed away. And so I literally watched my mom struggle, stress, and worry all the way to death. And so, man, that threw a pain to me that was like nobody's business, man. And so, man, from there, I was determined to make sure that my family and my kids didn't see me go out struggling and worrying and stressing and all that kind of stuff. And so, out of that dark place, out of that pain, out of that depression and all that stuff, I arose to say, you know what, we going harder than ever at doing what's right and making a legacy for our family and showing them a good marriage and all that kind of stuff. After that pain right there, they say it's two types of pain. They say there's a pain that hurt, and then there's a pain that alters you. That was a pain that altered me. That was a real hit right there. So, it took me to a dark place, but in order to get out of that, man, I had to come out swinging, fighting, and got into purpose and find out what am I created to do, what am I here for, and the stuff that me and my wife do, man, we love it. It's in our purpose now.
There you go, man. And we have a guest I was just telling Darren about that's going to be on Friday that I think is definitely going to be a great example of this. Jay Hewitt. He just had a mini documentary of him on ESPN. He wrote me this morning. We got in a conversation. He has brain cancer. He's a pastor out of California, has a big church out there, and been going through the chemotherapy, has a 5-year-old daughter. He actually trained during the middle of this chemotherapy treatment and went and ran a 140-mile marathon.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about turning. So, I mean, it's not just family law. I mean, in this life, the thing that drives us the most is love. Sometimes love is, or what we thought was love is what got us into some of these situations we talk about here sometimes. But the other side of that, we all want love. And that's what makes the world go round. The other side of that's pain. If you live in this life, I mean, everybody's guaranteed two things in life: to be born and to die. Okay. We're going to lose people that we love along the way. We're going to have many struggles, many trials. It might be financially, it might be your job, it might be your marriage. But you can take that. You can take that and pass that on, and that knowledge that you learn along the way, because let's be honest, those are mistakes.
Right.
I mean, you had to fall down to learn that hurt, to know I don't want to do that again. And it's the same thing with our marriages. It's the same thing with love. It's the same thing in our jobs, any of our relationships. And we can take that pain and turn it into purpose to help others. And I've seen it happen so much. And that's what you're doing. I know we haven't talked about it that much, but y'all had a meeting last night. Tell us a little bit about the Texas Minority Coalition.
Man, we had a meeting at our interest meeting last night, and it was such a powerful meeting because we had a judge in the meeting. We had some very prominent people in the meeting, but not just because of their prominence, but because they know what we were talking about, and they are willing to come out and listen and to hear the things that we're trying to do in the community. So we're putting together programs, man, that goes after fatherlessness. Fatherlessness is an epidemic. It is one of the worst things that we're experiencing in America. And so we started that fight by talking about fathers' rights, man, and we are not ashamed of it. So we're talking about fathers' rights, and we had Robert Garza come out there and tell his story and really, really impact the people. And a lot of people got his information after hearing what he's going through with his kids. So we had Jeff Morgan come up and talk about some of the statistics and things going on and how the enemy is really tearing down the families through divorce. So we hit it from a divorce angle. We're trying to combat that. If we can, turn down these divorce rates, let's turn them down. It's not going to be a perfect thing, and there's going to be people that get it, but we need to turn the divorce rate down and look at the injustice that's going on with the divorces. So we was able to hit marriage, we was able to hit families, we was able to talk about fathers' rights and trying to get fathers back in the homes and highlight the statistics and all the ill wills and stuff that come out of it. And man, it was a great meeting. He was talking about abortion. How are we going to curb that? What programs we're putting together to curb abortion? How are we affecting our education system by putting an alternative school in schools that's really going to help kids succeed, instead of having them punishment based. So we talked about a lot of things, man. It was a very interesting meeting. A lot of people stayed all the way to the end, and it went longer than we expected because people were so interested in what we were talking about. And so where it's supposed to be about an hour and a half, and it ended up being 3 hours,
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah. People were interested, and we stayed around even after that. They were trying to kick us out the hotel because people just wanted to mix and mingle. So we have some great stuff coming up, man.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to highlight along the way, these things aren't going to be easy, guys. When you start turning that pain into purpose, if you, especially like with family law, Darren, when I very first started that, of course, I knew what my fight was and I knew, what it felt like to be on the receiving end of that. But there's also somebody on the other side of the aisle that thinks they won something.
Yeah.
They feel good about it.
Yeah.
So the more you speak up and the more you start getting out there and letting people know how you feel about things, that opposition is going to come. And then sometimes you hit the nail on the head yesterday when we was talking about next relationships. After you go through divorce, you meet somebody, you start connecting with your pain.
Yeah.
You get in these communities and you find people that have been through similar situations and hurt other people, right?
Right.
So this journey isn't always going to be easy, but you got to stay focused. And I think one of the most important things that I've learned in this past year and a half getting involved with this advocacy is keeping my circle small.
Yeah.
Finding people that you can trust, that has got your back, that aren't going to, run off and try to talk about you or just get here and try to leech onto your back. Finding that little small circle that that is dedicated people that can back you up, because I'm not so sure that any of these paths you can do alone. You need to have a team.
Yeah. And you got to have somebody that can hold you, man. So all of that that pain and stuff, man, it's designed really to build a resilience in you and to build a tolerance in you. But kind of like sitting there soaking in pain and soaking in the hurt and soaking in the worry and the stress and all that stuff that it produces, that's what's not gonna defeat the battle. You only can defeat it when you do stand up and when you do get resilient and when you do say, okay, I'm gonna fight back. But so you'll have a list of complaints of things like this ain't working out, this person don't want me, this person don't like me, this person is unjust and unfair. And you can say that all day long, but until you stand up and put a solution in front of it, how am I going to handle this? How am I going to fight back to this? That's when it becomes beneficial to you. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff, man, you have to stand up to it. You have to become resilient to get out of it.
All right. If you would have asked me 4 years ago when I was in the middle of this, so I went through a divorce. I found out details I'm not going to put on camera that just would break any man that was going through it. I tore my ACL. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't work at that point in time. Somebody stole every penny I had out of my banking account. I got it back months later, but we had to track it down and find out what was going on. All of these things came to me at once, and there was no self-confidence. There was not even really a will to wake up the next day outside of my kids to keep going. But at the same time, I look back now and see how that molded me into what I'm doing today. Yeah. I know you might be going through struggles and trials right now, guys, but those are the moments that make you who you are destined to be. Be thankful for those moments. Yeah. Be thankful for that pain, because you might not know that pain might be setting you up for the best thing that's ever going to happen in your life. It might be about to show you your purpose.
That's it, man. And like you said, you got to, I forgot to hit on that a while ago. You said you keep your circle small, man. You're going to be, because when like you said, when you fight in this fight and you go through the stuff that you're going to go through, you're not going to be perfect at all, man. You're going to have somebody that can have your back when the real friends are the ones that can have your back when you fall, when you do something crazy, or when you do something that you don't want the public to know, or when you just, you got a behavior or something that, that's just between you and that person, man. And you know that you can trust them and hold them with your secrets, man. That's your friends, because you're gonna have to have some type of outlet, man. You're gonna fall, with this battle, and it's about getting up. And when you get up, you don't have to. There's a organization, I don't like their meetings because they tell you to introduce yourself like, I am. They tell you to say that you are something. Now I want to say the organization because I don't know ramifications and all that, but they tell you to say, I am such and such. And you're repeating that over and over again. It's like, no, man, you are resilient. You're a warrior. You may fall sometimes, but man, strength, your confidence, when you fighting for something what's right and you're doing your best to be your best, and you know that you're doing what's right, and you're trying to live right, and you're trying to have that family, and you're trying to, you know that you're that great guy, that not perfect, but you doing what a man would do for his family and himself or whatever, you fight for that stuff, man. You fight for that stuff, and it's not going to be a perfect battle, but I'm gonna get up every time. I don't care how many times I fall. I don't care how much I mess up. I mess up a lot. I'm a abused cat, man. I get a little thrown sometimes, but still I know who I am. I know what I fight for. I know what I'm building with my family, and I know that this is who I am. And so whoever comes to me and talk about me or say something is wrong or say I'm not doing something right, man, I'm secure in what I'm doing.
That's right.
And I surround myself with people that move like me, think like me, or we can work together. But if you can't, if I think you slimy, if I think you grimy, if I think you can't hold my secrets, you'll get a version of me, but you won't get all of me like a real friend again. I'll figure out how I can, is this person beneficial to me in another way? If
Right.
this person can this person come into my life to benefit me in this area, and I'll just keep them in a certain area. But my friend is my friend. And whatever. I got a friend back to the day, to the day I'm gone, man. I'm a friend. You know what I mean? I'm a friend when I'm a friend, but
There you go. And that's very important, because I've had so many people that have came and mentored me and been a friend and a listening ear. Sometimes I just want to go and scream to the rooftops. And one of them just showed up in here, and I got to introduce you to this guy. It wasn't planned, but I'm going to talk about him for a second, because when we talk about turning pain into purpose, you'll love the story that you're going to hear from this guy. Mr. Carnell Smith right here said, "Great topic. Applause for having the courage to speak up for the societal impact by helping fathers and kids have frequent and consistent contact with each other." You guys see that channel down there? I'm telling you, go subscribe to it. When it comes to knowledge, he's one of the most knowledgeable people that I know, especially when it comes to paternity fraud. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my friend right now, just to show you how much respect. Here's his new book right here, Trapped by Law, Stop Paying Child Support for Paternity Fraud. I've been giving away copies of this over at the podcast for people who's been liking and sharing it. So Carnell, he's been on MSNBC, Fox, Dr. Phil, many different episodes. He paid 11 years in child support to find out later on that the child was not his. So at that point, he went before the judge and said, "Judge, well, she's not mine. I love her, but I shouldn't have to pay child support anymore, and I'd like to get back some of those fees I've been paying for the past 11 years. Didn't happen. Guess what they did, Darren? They told him he had to still keep paying child support because he should have found out sooner. Now, you think of the pain that would have caused somebody that's going through this. 11 years, I thought this was my child. 11 years, I have financially supported. Now I'm not being able to see that child, and the judge is telling me I've got to pay for this person that I feel like I've been wronged by, and he had been. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
What did he do? He didn't just sit there and sulk in the pain. This man went and got paternity fraud legislation passed in 11 different states.
I love it, man.
I'm glad you showed up, brother. I am glad you showed up. I mean, the perfect person to talk about turning pain into purpose.
That's phenomenal, man. I see people like that, man. I want to shake their hand, man, because they're fighters, man. And people, man, when you can get up from a, man, I love boxing. I love boxing and UFC, man. I used to be a huge football fan, but man, boxing and UFC kind of took over me, man, because it was, man, I just kept watching them over and over again, and I went beyond their skills, and I watched the spirit of them. Man, people, when you are a fighter, man, there is something that burns inside of you that make you just go after it, man, and you defy all is like when I first met my wife, man, I was entrepreneurial, man. I was gun ho about going after fatherless kids, going after the mental health issues, going after the African American community, man, and just I'm gun ho about getting to the mindset of them, man, and so. My wife didn't understand that drive too much, man. But man, I was just speaking because I know that there's issues. I know that there's things that's wrong going on. And man, that fire, that fighting spirit, man. When you can meet somebody else that got that same fighting spirit, man, you just want to shake their hand and you want to kind of just rub off on you when they do amazing stuff like that, man. It's just, give me some of that, man. Pass that to me, man, so I can go to carry it on, man.
It's kind of an interesting story because it went down in your state. I've spent so many hours on the phone with Carnell, and he would just drop this knowledge on me when he was talking to different legislators and stuff. Sometimes I thought, I sit my daughter down. Sometimes we have talks for like 3-4 hours. And she loves that. And if we don't do it, every so often, she gets upset. Daddy, we haven't been talking. So, but I'll sit down there and just try to pour out all of this knowledge that I have from the mistakes I made. And one day she looked at me and she said, Daddy, sometimes you're telling me these things. And I think to myself, I have no idea what he's talking about, but one day it's going to make sense.
That's good.
Okay. And I love that because she knew what was going on and she was soaking it up like a sponge. I did this with him. And then when I was out in Texas talking in front of the legislative committee, all that knowledge that had been poured on me, and I had never done anything like that before, it just started coming out. He was one of the first people I called, and I was like, everything you told me came into play. And I didn't know I was going to need it. So, man.
That's good stuff, man. That's why we got to keep talking and planting seeds, man. Trap by law. I'm definitely going to cop that. But it's planting seeds, man. I do it to my kids often because it's like, you can foresee what they're going to go through and what challenges they're going to just by some of the decisions they make. It's like, all right, man, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, or this is how you get out of it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I didn't understand what you was talking about, but I do now. And it's because when they come to the situation, they'll recognize it. They'll know what to say. They'll know to come to you like, hey, man, this happened. What you said was going to happen, And planting those seeds, man, is powerful, man. That's why men got to start talking more. We got to fathers got to start getting our voices out there and doing shows like Dad Talk, man, and meeting guys like Carnell, man. It's people need to hear us. Men have been fairly silent, man. We really have. But men got to really start explaining life and relationships and love and things from our own point of view instead of letting society tell everybody that men are bad or men need all these regulations on them because we the ones that's beating on people and just all whatever society think about men. We out here trying to overtake the women community and we're trying to run everything. That's not a narrative about real men and fathers. And because we're not talking enough, man, people are creating their own narratives about that. But the day is over for that, man. We are fighters. We love our families. We love God. We love this country. We love freedom. We love doing what's right, man. We're not out here trying to hurt anybody and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to raise our families and raise our kids and leave legacies and start kingdom businesses like these, man, and really be successful at them and show them like, no, when we was here on this earth, we left a mark. We left a mark, and whatever society tells you about men, look at your daddy. This is what we are. We fight for our families, man, and getting out there and putting that message out there.
Absolutely. Mark Allen said they put labels on you for just trying to be a father.
Yeah.
And dude, it's everywhere. It's not just that. I mean, coming out and speaking out and making something like Dad Talk. I've been called a woman hater. I've been called everything in the book. I've got 4 daughters, a beautiful wife, and a beautiful mom who lives right beside me. My whole life, like I've been around women. I love them. When we talk about these issues, we're not single-handedly calling out women. We're talking about the system. And the system has really had a bias against men. But you're going to get those labels, man. There's going to be people that's going to call you everything in the book. And what is that? They're trying to put that pain back on you because they don't want that pain to turn into your purpose. And along the way, you're going to make mistakes, guys. I mean, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. As long as you're cognizant of that and you're humble enough to say, hey, look, I really screwed that one up, but I know not to do that again.
Yeah.
I've done that many times myself, man. Probably every single day. Everybody's down here in the bottom. All right, cool. Saying they subscribe to Carnell. I'm telling you, awesome. You guys, you don't understand how people like this, they will pass on knowledge to you that is so useful. I have been so lucky when starting this. There is advocates out there that have been doing this for years and years and years, and they love seeing the younger generation come in here and doing what we're doing. And they love nothing more than to be able to pass on that knowledge. And I can't say enough good things about my buddy down there because he's done that with me. Paternity fraud is a real thing. And then hearing just how many people are victims of paternity fraud that would think, oh, no, that would never happen. Yeah, it can happen. I mean, pastors. He's talked about pastors, actors. You know the actor. Have you ever watched the movie Thor, Darren?
Yeah, I have.
You know that the guy at the gate.
Which part?
Where they travel back and forth. The big guard at the gate.
Yeah.
He was a victim of paternity fraud.
Really?
Carnell worked with him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So many
Wow.
different people,
So it's
and
people, man. It's people out here that's doing great work, man. It's just we gotta link up, man. I really want to meet him. I really do.
Carnell, will you come on the show maybe next week? I'll be up at the legislative meeting later on this week, but I'd like to have you on next week, and let's bring you over here to the audience on YouTube. So
Please do. How about? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you mind me asking, but how old is he?
I think Carnell, oh man, I better get this right. I'd say mid-50s.
Yeah. See, guys like me, man, like I love seeing black men like him that does stuff like that because again, I'm a fatherless kid. So I don't know what it's like to be ever. So a lot of the trainings that I get, man, I listen to a lot of audio books and I listen to like guys that I look up to, man, and that's where I get my training from manhood. So guys like this, man, black men that do amazing stuff like this, that's older than me, man. I love sitting down, talking to them, meeting them, and learning their mindset and how to think is how I get all my father training. So, man, please come on the show, man, and just man, enlighten us some more, man, with your wisdom and knowledge.
Well, there's an interesting conversation with that. I didn't talk too much about paternity fraud until I linked up with Carnell, but I did have a few opinions on it. And we could talk about this if we can get them on. I believe we should have some type of legislation passed that paternity test is given upon birth for every single child.
Absolutely.
You know how many people
Yeah.
are opposed to that? But I'm sitting there saying, look, I mean, before you go into this contract having to pay 18 years
Yeah.
in child support,
Yeah.
this child thinking that they had this father that was never their father, this parent going all this time thinking they had a child. There's so many people that would protect if we just made it the standard. And guess what else would happen? The cost of that test would go way down because it's being made on a bigger scale. So
Yeah, I had a friend that go through that, man, and of course I've seen a lot of them with CPS, but from a friend standpoint, I seen him go through that, man, and I was behind the scenes when he found out that this kid wasn't his, and this was on vacation this week.
he
What?
just turned 60.
Oh man,
I feel good.
come on,
I feel
man.
good. 55. I got there, Carnell. I even
Listen,
gave you a few years, man.
that's good stuff. And I'm so interested in meeting you, man, and just learning from you and
Next week.
getting this information. So, what was I saying? Man, that just threw me off. I was excited about that.
My bad.
um,
That's the cool thing about this, though, Darren. You get excited to meet these people that can
Yeah.
pass on that knowledge, and you can
Right.
just tell the passion coming off the advocates to be able to learn from the generation before us.
Right. I think a lot of people think that we're supposed to be, there is, man, especially within the politic realm, man, there is people that just, they've been in a long time and they don't like to see us younger people coming in and kicking up ruckus and all that kind of stuff, man. And I get it, but, I promise you, we're not. So I can take my youth and run with it and take and I got a passion for this, man, and I'm only in my 30s, so getting that information, man, and being able to run with it and run with the right way with wisdom and listening to the people that's done it before me and taking those nuggets and creating some new ideas and stuff with them, man, that's powerful to me.
Absolutely, dude. And like I said, you never know when that knowledge is going to come into you. I think equal shared parenting is usually like the number one thing when it comes to father's rights that people are putting on the pedestal, and it's important. But paternity fraud, that is a huge thing that we need to be hopping on.
Yeah.
It really is. And
Yeah.
see, that's really kind of a father's rights issue, but I think it's just as much for the child.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, paternity right. I was talking about that friend. So
Oh,
yeah, he found out the kid wasn't his, and he was so attached to that kid already, though, that even though he found out the kid wasn't his, he kept trying to take care of the kid and was being there and going to picking him up and paying child support on the kid and everything. Well, he was married to another woman, and so that affected that marriage because the wife was like, "Man, listen, this ain't your kid, and we already struggling, and you paying child support, you're not trying to fight it, and this, that, and other." So even just that fraud, man, it created a lasting relationship in his current marriage because of that fraud, or just not knowing that the kid wasn't his or whatever it was, man. So I can see that being a huge, huge, huge issue.
Oh, it definitely is. HC9 here on YouTube said at Dad Talk, how about the story of the guy who was married and the wife had 3 kids with a boyfriend and the guy had to pay child support? I don't know about
Yeah,
that story, and I'm
yeah,
about to murder this live. I'll get Carnell to tell you the exact details, but I know there was this guy that had paid child support for his child for years. Okay. And then he found out it wasn't his kid. And I guess the mom knew. And so the biological dad knew as well. And then I guess she went to jail. He got custody. The biological father did. And this father that was a victim of paternity fraud had to pay child support to the biological father.
yeah. They call him a legal father. So if you get married, something like that, to a woman at the time where she had a kids, or you get married for a period of time, you're called the legal father, and you got precedence over the biological father.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's
It's
you hear
crazy.
you hear these stories and they never cease to amaze you just how bad it can actually get. But
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by anything anymore.
yeah, it's crazy, man. I was like, how unfair is that? It's crazy. You know,
It
I
it
mean, you got the
definitely,
guy. It's not even the guy's kids, man. They still have to pay child support, man. I be hearing all that, and there's nothing that you can. I mean, you can fight it, but I mean, it's so common. I'm like, wow, that's yeah, that definitely need to be looked at. But that's a big issue, man.
but look back at it because of this man's pain, because of that sorrow that he had to experience at that one point in time, turned around in 11 states. How many fathers are benefiting off of that legislation that got passed
Wow,
because he experienced that pain?
wow,
Okay,
wow.
tomorrow
Good.
there is so many advocates that are going to be there in Atlanta, and many different organizations that are putting it together.
That's good.
Georgia will be a better place because these parents have experienced that pain in some form or another.
That's good, man. That's really good.
We're going to make history, man.
Yeah,
We're going to make
yeah.
history. I want to see
That
this
that
sweep
that's
all across the United States of America. I
yeah,
really do. I don't want to do dad talk anymore.
yeah.
I can go make this show about anything else. We can talk about politics, sports, but when it comes to this and father's rights, I want to get it going. And hopefully you guys will follow us, whatever else we end up doing.
Yeah, because I think that's what relates a lot of people, man. A lot of people are more connected through pain than they are through happiness and all that stuff. And if people are willing to talk about that pain and figure out how they can use it, man, to really go out here and be impactful for this movement, oh my God, man. The purpose of whatever their own personal purpose is will be powerful. But man, attaching it to a cause where it helps other people as well is just that much more impactful. I tell my wife all the time, I said, my job, what I really want to do is serve the servants. So everybody that's serving people, man, like Dad talked today, doing a service to people, whatever I can add to it, whatever I contribute to it, I just want to serve. I want to see good Dad Talk grow. I want to see Katie and Joe Medina, the event coordinators. I want to see them grow. I want to see the other people I want to see Jeff Morgan with his media organization. I want to see people grow. And whatever I can do to serve the servants, man, that's what I do. And that's why, even with Texas Minority Coalition, man, me and my wife are putting our all into it because we know that Stanley Kofor, the founder of it, is really, really he's in love with what he's created. He's in love with his vision. So God gave it to him. So if God gave that vision to him to start this organization and it aligns perfectly with what me and my wife want to do and what we're going after, especially with father rights stuff, man, we want to handle it with respect and do it to the best of our abilities and really serve because we know how it is to him and serving other people, and so that makes us feel good. So, man, whatever it is, attach that pain to it, man, and put it to use, put it to service, and don't make it all about yourself. Make it about
That's right.
serving somebody else. And man, that's where you'll want to get up every day, man. This is so fun to me and my wife, man. We up at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's an energy that comes with purpose. There's a vibrance that comes with purpose. There's a whole nother, it makes us look at our finances a certain way. It makes me want to eat healthy and work out a little bit more because, we're getting out here now, man. We got to have that energy. So purpose, man, will push you to do what's best for yourself, as well. So we love it, man. Without purpose, man, men will perish without vision. Really, we really will.
And I don't know that anybody really understands just how important having that vision and that purpose is. I see the people that their dreams is to have that family and the white picket fence, and that's what they want in life.
Yeah.
And I'm not hating on them. But what you said earlier, leaving your mark, I want to make sure that when I leave this world, I left it in a better place than what I got into it.
That's it.
You don't have many people willing to do that right now. It seems like we have hit this spiral over the last decade that just keeps going out of control.
Yeah.
And
everybody not called for it. I mean, and you just
no, they're not.
Everybody's not gonna do it, but the ones that are called to it, you can feel it. You can feel that drive. You can feel that push. But sometimes life will put so many heavy things on you, man, that it'll be hard to get up. You literally have to do things like shaping your mind. You literally have to read. You literally have to pray. You really have to be in vision and get up and actually do the work. Do the work that you see in your head and not just visualize it, not just see the vision of it. There's an element, okay, how do I actually create it? I got to get up and I got to do the paperwork. I got to put together the meetings. I got to call people. I have to, schedule appointments and do things. You have to do the work. But you'll sit there and you'll have that vision and you'll be so depressed and all that kind of stuff. And you really won't know what to do and how to get out of it. But you have to start doing the work. Once you start to work, the different steps and things will come. But you have to defeat whatever that you have to defeat the pain. You really do. You have to defeat the pain. And once you step into your purpose, man, it'll be something that's so energizing that you won't be able to stop. You won't be able to turn back. You won't be able to go back. But there is hills and valleys in it. So you're gonna have ups and downs. You got to be able to be content in all situations. When it's up, be content, be humble. When it's down, be content and have faith. And keep fighting and keep pushing. And everybody's not called for that. They're just not. But if you are, you ought to, I don't know who I'm talking to really, but this message is for you. If that is you, if you have that dream, if you have that vision, if you have that goal, if you have that nagging in you, that's just you hate going to work. You hate working for somebody else. You hate being on somebody's schedule, somebody's time clock, and you hate the way things are, but you got that burning in you. It's time to get up. It's time to find whatever that thing is for you and serve somebody else and do the work. If you don't do the work, you won't get nowhere. And that vision that you see will torment you. It will torment you because you will constantly see something that you'll constantly see a vision, but you'll have to live in the reality of where you are. And that reality, once you look at it, is going to bring you down every time. So you have to just stop constantly looking at the vision and create it so you can live in it, so it can be your environment. And then you won't have to just be in the vision. You'll be able to have fun doing it. It'll be a real thing here on earth.
Well, it's all about the process. So you live in a world now that if you want a pizza or you want a cheeseburger, you can get Uber Eats. You can get anything delivered right to your house within minutes, right?
Right.
Used to, you had to go out and go pick it up yourself, or you either had to cook it. There's just so many different examples of stuff like that people want that immediate results.
Yeah.
There's a process in there that you got to build it. You're going to learn from that process. You're going to have your mistakes. You're going to learn from it. And that is going to be the process and what makes you prepared to take on the fight in the first place. Don't skip over that. Yeah. Don't skip over that.
Absolutely, man. I think my biggest issue was I was always looking for the big thing, that big moment, that one big break. And I was not noticing that I was in the purpose already. Everything is a part of it. Whether me getting up and going to work out, whether me having dinner with a county official or a judge or something, or having a speech at a rally, or having a meeting like yesterday, everything is the purpose. Once it's purpose, everything we do is for it, and we have fun doing it. We enjoy going out to dinner parties. We enjoy getting dressed up, going out to rallies. We enjoy having Zoom calls and podcasts and fighting for what's right the way we do it. We enjoy putting together events for fatherless children. We enjoy putting together for fatherless man. We enjoy putting together for fathers' rights.
That's it.
So everything is it. So it's not a one big moment. People got to stop looking for that big break and stop and look around you and realize that you're already in it. You just got to get to work.
The small steps.
Yep.
Get you quicker to the goal than trying to always reach for the big steps, because those big steps are few and far between. I'm not saying they don't happen sometimes, but if you stay consistent, make those small steps along the way, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. I'll tell you what, guys, I've got a meeting to go to, so I'm going to have to cut it a little bit short today. But tomorrow, since I'm going to be in front of the legislature, what we're going to be doing, I've got a replay of a really good show that I want you to see. A lot of you probably haven't started tuning in until here recently, but Mr. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West came to the show earlier this year. And I think that is such an important conversation, Darren, because he mentioned, and that was what we highlighted for the video, in 1961, where he was growing up. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He's a Georgia boy as well. But in 1961, he said 77% in the black community had two-parent households. We're at 24% today.
Wow.
And that was such a powerful statement. And he really dipped down into that. But it's not just the black community. It's all races. It's all genders. I mean, this is affecting moms just as much as it is father. Not just as much, but it affects them as well.
Right.
So we're going to replay that conversation, and I hope you guys will tune into that and share it. And if you're watching this, please do us a favor. If you got some friends, you got some family, make sure that you send this YouTube channel over there and make sure that they subscribe. If you're watching this, when you do, like the post, make sure that you're liking it. And that's all we ask, man, for helping us get the voice out there. A lot of hard work goes into this. Darren, I've appreciated you so much over the past few weeks. Every day he's on here, he's on time. And that's what it takes, man. Showing up. That's 90% of what we do.
Hey, I'm here to serve, man. That's it. I'm serving ferociously. That's it, man.
That's it, guys. Well, love you so much. And Darren, hope you have a good one. We will be back Friday with Jay Hewitt to tell his story about brain cancer and what he's been doing in dedication for his daughter. That should be a pretty powerful episode. And next week, we're bringing the paternity coach, Mr. Carnell Smith, to the podcast.
Can't wait.
It happened live on the show. How cool is that? Y'all got behind the scenes.
I think I'm earlier in a minute.
Yeah. All right, my man. We'll see you next time.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We are fighting for the rights of parents worldwide. If you want to help support our podcast and for us to continue this mission, please join us at patreon.com/dadtalktoday. You will find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, CloutHub, Parler, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, the podcast app, Google, Apple Podcasts. We're a little bit of everywhere. And guys, every time you like and subscribe, you help us continue this mission. Thank you, and we will see you next time.